Morning, Dad.
Morning, Jay.
So today what I really want us to cover in the conversation is CEO tough decisions, what they are and how you make them.
Oh my word. It's like, oh, we've got a tough question, first question. So I don't think there's such thing as CEO questions or CEO tough decisions. I think ultimately we always get to make the final decision, but I think ultimately it's about the team and the staff that you surround yourself with. I mean, collectively, we all need to agree what needs to happen. So the success of, or when I feel my success is, I might not be the sharpest tool in the shed, but I've surrounded myself with intellectual people to help me make these decisions. So if you've got the right team around you and the right structures to make the decisions becomes a little bit easier. You do it from time to time, get that tough decision that you need to make on your own. Or you got a bit of a split, half want to do something and half want to do other. And I think what I've learned to do in very recent times, probably more about the last 4 years, is no longer to make on the fly decisions. If I'm not sure, I'll go home, pray over the decision. I know it sounds a bit cliche, but I pray over a lot of decisions that I make, and I'll come back rather in a day or two and try and make a more calculated decision than probably in my youth. I used to make a bit more spur of the moment decisions, which weren't always the right decisions. But I normally feel what's right, what sits good in my heart and what sits good in my stomach. And if it feels right, we make the decisions. Sometimes you've got to give that a little bit of risk. I mean, with some risk comes reward. So sometimes you've got to calculate how much risk are you prepared to put in for the reward that you're going to get. But ultimately, to answer the question, the decisions aren't always as difficult as we make them. I think it's how we perceive the questions. It's not difficult to make difficult decisions when you have the right people to help you make the decisions. And I believe that if you've got a philosophy of prayer and godliness in your heart, I do make the right decisions 90% of the time, because of the environment that I work in and the environment that I've created for people to allow to work in. That we believe in SVA, everybody has a voice. So as long as we apply that methodology that everybody has a say, it says what he says. I mean, we don't always like everything that people say, but if you just listen and come back and just let it filter a little bit, we'll generally come up with the correct decisions.
So then maybe speaking about what we deem as tough decisions that a CEO would want to make is when it comes to people and deciding whether you're going to take people on or let people go, how would you approach something like that or make a decision like that?
Oh, well, that's probably the easiest question of the lot, Chad. That's why we have an HR department. I tell you, that's not a decision that I like to make. I mean, when it comes to retrenchments and 189s and getting rid of people, if it's a discipline issue and people don't live by our values and our cultures, to dismiss somebody or ask somebody to leave is ultimately not a difficult decision for me to make. If you had to get to a business which we're fortunate not to be in, when you're sitting around more of a re-engineering structure because of profitability, those become the more tough decisions to make. And to be really honest with you, collectively we'll make those decisions. I don't make those decisions on my own, and ultimately I would not be that bearer of bad news. So that's fortunate. I'm in the CEO of a CEO. I don't have to be talking to that individual about that, because it's something that I will always I don't do, and I will always battle to do. I can't see favor or non-favor shown on anybody else. It's not in my DNA. So to answer the question, we talk about the tough questions. So those tough things I'd rather give to my HR department to take care of, even though the decision would collectively come from a committee or a board to make them.
Okay, and is there any other tough decisions or input that you would give people or advice with people in a role similar to yours that want to be in a role similar to yours about making tough decisions?
I think it's easy to be. I think everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. Everybody wants to be in charge. Everybody wants to own their own business. But we always say the cliche thing. It's one thing to pay a salary, it's a different one to earn it. So we're the first one to make it, and then the last one to receive it. I mean, your staff's got to be taken care of first. So advice: don't get involved in top-heavy structures. Keep it as light and as minimal as possible. Get more people to do multitasking, to get more flexibility of what he can do over a broader spectrum of work, so that you employ less people. It also helps with the succession side of things. Just don't have the top-heavy structures. And as for the decision making, surround yourself with people who can help you make those decisions, because if you're going to be an individual who's making all the decisions yourself, then you're probably working in the business instead of on the business, and then you really defeat your role of actually being a CEO of a business.